In this video, I've collected all the best research and data from my athletes who run 10.3 and 10.5 in the 100 meter and put all the best muscles to increase your speed into one video with reps and sets, example exercises, and everything you need to know to get faster. First muscle is the strongest pound for pound muscle that nobody trains. An easy way to know if you're weak in this muscle is if your acceleration is poor. When I'm not coaching, I play basketball. And when I'm training for basketball, I need to be able to blow past a defender like Trae Young because I'm 5'7". But I struggle to blow past some people, and it wasn't because of my speed. I ran a 4.5 40 yard at the time, and that's pretty quick, especially for basketball players. But it was because I couldn't blow through my first step and then decelerate on a dime. And once I started training this muscle, I was able to accelerate and decelerate because your body will not produce force if it cannot accept it. So I'll give you a basic framework of how we train the soleus in our elastic-based training system, the Speed Academy. For most of these exercises, I'm going to give you a spectrum. So not a step 1, step 2, step 3, but more of a slow strength, power, and then velocity-based movement for every single muscle group. For our slow strength movement, we're going to be doing an overcoming isometric, where we're pushing into a wall in a split stance position. This is gonna target the soleus, also gonna target some glute and some quad, but mainly the soleus and the calf, and we're gonna be pushing as hard as possible in the split stance position, and this is going to mimic acceleration. Now the second movement, we're going to be moving through a full range of motion in the soleus. This is going to be a front foot elevated calf raise. And for a high velocity movement that will train power and speed, this is going to be a sled sprint. You can do band resistance sprint, sled sprint, hill sprint, parachute sprint, or even some type of like kneeling or push-up start sprint where we're challenging the first 3 steps, which is going to be a lot of soleus, a lot of glute, a lot of hamstring, but specifically training the soleus in a velocity-based movement.
If you want to run faster and improve your ankle stiffness, click one of the links in the description that's going to give you a free ankle stiffness plus speed program. It's the first week of the Speed Academy, phase 1, week 1. Click it today.
But the soleus does not matter if you do not have this muscle trained well. In this research study, it states that even in a population of highly trained sprinters, the best sprinters have the most muscle size on the upper thigh compared to other sprinters who are 1 second slower in the 100 meter, which is a huge difference. Think about a 10.3 sprinter versus a 11.3 sprinter. Personally, I wouldn't say I have huge legs compared to a bodybuilder, but the one thing I ever get complimented with my physique is going to be my quads and my glutes. And it makes sense because when I was an athlete, my best quality was max velocity. And even my fastest sprinter who runs 4.3 in the 40 yard laser time, his fastest quality is max velocity, and he has huge quads and hamstrings. His flying 30 is well below sub 3. For anyone who doesn't know what a good flying 30 time is, that is insane. So if you don't have enough mass and strength in the quads, then that might be holding back your max velocity, and here are some exercises to train it. For a slow strength movement, we have heel elevated goblet squats, where we're elevating heels, getting into that front squat or goblet squat position, and going through a full range of motion. For the middle of the pack movement, we're kind of developing a little bit of strength and velocity. We're gonna be doing resisted goblet squat jumps or deep knee resisted jumps, where we have some type of resistance, maybe 10-20% of our body weight. We're trying to jump as high as possible through a bigger range of motion. And to develop the quads with a velocity-based movement, we're going to be doing depth jumps. So this is also gonna develop power and speed, but we're also gonna be developing a lot of the knee extensors like the quads. If your goal is to run faster, you want me to put all these exercises into a done-for-you program that can increase your speed over the year, join the Speed Academy below. You can even get the full year, or you can just join, cancel anytime. It's just a monthly membership to increase your speed every single month. Now that we develop mass in the quads, we still need to be able to extend through triple extension. If we don't have strength in this muscle, you're going to struggle with this. In this research study, it states that peak Achilles tendon force was found at highest running speeds approximately around 6 meters per second. The soleus and gastroc muscles are responsible for generating large proportion of the ground reaction forces during running. So if you're an athlete who feels like you have a lot of strength, but it isn't transferring over to sprint speed, the strength and elasticity in your gastroc and soleus might be the reason why you can't transfer that strength to speed. So I'm gonna give you a simple progression I take all my athletes through to help improve this quality. For our slow strength movement, we're gonna try to get as strong as possible in the single leg calf raise. My favorite variation is gonna be the Smith machine, but you can also do dumbbells or barbells, around 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. Then for a moderate movement that's a little bit of strength and a little bit of elasticity, we're gonna do single leg pogos. Single leg pogos are pretty hard on the joints, so if this feels too hard, don't push yourself too much. You might even feel better doing the next variation, which is the velocity-based movement. You're gonna be doing skips for 30 seconds all the way up to 3 to 5 minutes. Usually I'll do about 2 to 3 sets in the Speed Academy as a warm-up. Now we've covered 3 of the most important muscles for speed, but there's still one muscle that if you do not have strength in, you're just gonna be slow. Here's why. In this research study, it states that It seems possible that barbell hip thrusts with 60 to 80% rep max loads executed at a maximal bar speed amongst athletes with strong base of hip extensor strength would be able to enhance sprinting ability by increasing the ability of the glutes maximus to exert force at high velocity. So once again, that research study is pretty complicated, but all we're trying to say here is that the glutes are probably the most important muscle for sprinting faster. You have to produce force through triple extension, and the prime movers are going to be the gastroc, the soleus, and the glutes. The hamstring is going to be more of a decelerator. So yes, you are going to be producing force, but the most important prime mover is going to be the glutes. So here's my simple exercise progression to develop the glutes. For a slow strength movement, the single leg overcoming glute isometric is one of my favorite things. We're developing pure max glute strength and rate of force development without having to load a ton of weight on the bars. We're not loading our spine. We're not doing hip thrusts that may or may not work. We're just doing overcoming isometrics, squeezing the glute as hard as possible. I've used this on Division I soccer players all the time. They love it and it helps them run fast. For the middle of the pack, we're going to be doing power-based hip thrusts. This is going to be 40 to 60% of our body weight, and we're going to be doing it for explosive reps. So 2 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps for speed with a little bit of weight. So it's going to develop optimal power. And for our velocity-based glute movement, we're going to be doing broad jumps and repeat broad jumps. If you need more strength, you do standing broad jumps or standing band-resisted broad jumps. If you need that more reactivity and power-based movement, then repeat triple broad jumps are going to be one of your best movements for developing that glute power and also developing force production for speed. But if you're strong in all these muscles and in all these exercises, but you're still not getting faster, then what you need is the next secret step for turning strength into explosive power. So watch this video right here to learn how.